everyone, this is Shelly with heartsandyourfood.com, and today we're here to make a pumpkin pie. This recipe is going to involve a crust and the filling. So I just want to make something clear. The filling is going to be using a cooked pumpkin. This is a raw channel. This channel will always be vegan, but occasionally we're going to use some cooked ingredients. Traditionally with raw food, there's certain things that are probably cooked that we use on a daily basis, like maple syrup. Nutritional yeast I don't think is raw, don't count me on that, but I don't think it is. A few things that we use on a daily basis that are not raw by any means, they are cooked. So I just want to make that clear. However, if you wanted to use a pumpkin, get a sugar pumpkin, and as long as you put that in your Vitamix with some water and get it to the consistency of cooked packed pumpkin in a can, I think that would probably be fine too. It's just your preference. Mine, I don't care to eat pumpkin uncooked. It does not appeal to me, as nor do potatoes and things like that. So anyhow, I just want to make that clear. Okay, this recipe is going to be real simple. We're going to start with the crust. We've got almonds, dates. It should be coconut oil, but my first attempt at this, I forgot to turn the camera on, so I used the last of my coconut oil, and so I'm going to be using coconut butter, which is just a little denser than coconut oil. It's not as liquidy, and it should work fine. And then just a tiny bit of salt and some vanilla. And also the one last ingredient that you might not have in your cupboard, which would probably be fine. You could probably just substitute a little bit of cinnamon and maybe some nutmeg, just a tiny bit, or you can leave it out completely. It's not going to affect the taste of the pie. I just use it because it has it reminds me of graham crackers a little bit. So it's called mesquite, and you can get that on the store. You can find it in Whole Foods. It's not that hard to find, but it's not something that you would have just hanging around your house if you are not a raw foodist. So we're going to go ahead and start with the dry ingredients. We're going to put the almonds in here, and we're going to get them to a not real grainy, but not real, floury, somewhere in between. So, almonds in. And the full recipe will be at heartsandyourfood.com in the blog section. So we're going to go ahead and put these in here. Scraper. Go ahead and turn it on. Just going to stop to check the consistency every once in a while. Just a little bit more. Scrape the sides. That looks pretty good. Okay, so next we're going to add in the almond on the loose. We're going to add in the turbinado sugar. And again, if you don't want to add the turbinado sugar, if you don't have it, it should be fine. It just gives it a little extra crunch. So, and then the mesquite powder. And we're going to pulse this just a couple of times and get it incorporated. Oh, along with just a little tiny bit of salt. Just maybe, come on, one click there. Tiny, tiny bit. Now, we are going to put in our dates, and when you get your dates, source the best kind that you can. Just like I said, along with the pumpkin, I don't like the raw pumpkin, so I bought organic canned pumpkin, EPA free if you can get it, or in a jar. And so I'm just kind of tearing up the dates to help them just incorporate a little easier, and get the plumpest ones that you can. If you have dates that are dry, it's not going to incorporate well, so try to get the freshest, gooeyest ones that you can. Sometimes when dates sit around, they get a little dry. And sometimes when you tear them apart with your hands get sticky. Okay. Again, this doesn't take very long at all. Oh, so do not take the lid off. What I'm going to do is start it up again. I'm just going to pour in the vanilla and then add in the butter slowly, or the coconut. Should be oil, but it's butter at this point because I messed up. I'm just going to add them in slowly, and then it'll just get to that right consistency, and we'll feel it and see if it sticks together. At this point, we'll just have to scrape a little bit. Maybe give it a whirl or two, and then we'll see to where we want it. What we want it to do is to be able just to stick together. When we press it together, it'll stick, so that way when we put it in the pie pan, it'll adhere to the sides, and then we stick it in the freezer so that the coconut butter / oil will harden up, and then we can pour our batter in it, and then freeze it, our filling in it, and freeze it till it's all binded together, and that looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and take this out of here and press it into the pie pan. And this is a standard, I think 9.5-inch pie pan. Start with the sides. And all you do is just kind of, just press it to the sides where it just stays. Very, very simple. And like I said, then when you put it in the freezer, it'll, because of the coconut oil gets hard at about 75 degrees, it will go ahead and firm up even more and pull together for you. So I'm just going to do this and continue to press it up to the sides. And you want it right at the edge there so that it comes up over the filling. Looks kind of pretty. Continue to go around the sides. And again, you can make this crust as thin or as thick as you want. I like it on the thin side. Everybody else seems to prefer the thick side, so I kind of go with the thick. Okay, so there's the sides. As you can see, they're all just sticking to the side. And then we'll dump in the rest and do the bottom. Kind of fun, get to play with your food a little bit. So, I don't know what else we're having for Thanksgiving. I'm going to try to put as many recipes on here as I can to fill in for what you can. When we go to Thanksgiving, we usually go to my mom's house, and they do the traditional Thanksgiving. And so we just bring a bunch of sides with us. This year I think I might attempt a lentil loaf. I saw a really good recipe on someone's website. And I would like to put it on YouTube, but I don't know what the rules are about putting other people's recipes, so I'm going to have to look that up. But I'm going to try that maybe. And then we just usually bring a big platter of fruit, and that's for before we start eating. And then a salad. And I can do like a sweet potato, a raw sweet potato dish, and mashed potatoes if you wanted to eat those, as long as they didn't have butter or something in them. And then of course this for dessert. Just bring as many side dishes as you can. It doesn't even have to be Thanksgiving themed. It can be whatever you like. You can bring some nori wrap. You can bring anything that you want, or make anything that you want. There's just limitations when it comes to this kind of stuff. And honestly, I don't like to go to a big fuss about that. It's just food, The main thing is that you're with your family and you're laughing and having fun, and that's pretty much what matters. So there's the crust, all done, pressed into the pie pan. And now we're gonna go ahead and make the filling. Okay, part 2, the filling. I switched out my food processor for my Vitamix, and I switched out my ingredients. And so we're gonna go ahead and start. The first thing you're gonna be using is coconut milk. This is from my recipe on the site. I will put a link below to that video. And we're gonna pour this in the Vitamix. And then dates. Again, use the softest, best dates that you can find. And then basically we're gonna give these a word in the Vitamix. Okay, that looks good. You always want to make sure that you get your dates incorporated well because they have the, kind of like flaky skin on them. So we're going to go ahead and add our pumpkin. Once again, this is organic pumpkin. Again, feel free to use your sugar pumpkin if you'd like. I would just blend that in the Vitamix beforehand with some water and make sure that you get it to the consistency of packed cooked pumpkin. Or you can also take a sugar pumpkin, cook it yourself, and do that. Whatever way you prefer. Okay, so we've got the pumpkin. And we're going to give that a spin. And you might need your, this thingamajiggy, you might need your tamper. So here we go. Okay, now I'm going to add the spices, which I just went ahead and used pumpkin pie spice just to make it easier. I didn't want to have to add a teaspoon of this and a half a teaspoon of that and all that, so I just bought the pumpkin pie spice and just a couple of clicks of salt. Again, wanting to keep it really low sodium. All the while I'm checking kind of the temperature to make sure it's not getting too hot. And then the last ingredient, coconut oil, and we just kind of drizzle it in slowly to make sure that it gets all incorporated into the mix. So there we go. what I did was I put the, I forgot to say to put your crust into the freezer when you're done in between stages here so that it will harden up a little bit before we pour the crust in. Grab that and this out of the way. It's a messy business here. And then we're just going to pour the filling into the crust. And you'll notice it's not exactly the brown color that you get when you bake a pumpkin pie, but that's okay. It really tastes very, very good. And by the way, you know, I had run out of coconut oil and I had to use coconut butter. I think I actually like the coconut butter better than just the straight oil. So again, you can find that at Whole Foods or on our site. And there you go. Now what you do with this, you put it in the freezer for, I'd say, at least 3 hours to get it hard. And it should be just fine. So we will check back with you when this is set up. Hi everybody, we're back. Maddie and I went on a little bike ride and now we're going to cut this pumpkin pie and show you what it looks like. It's been in the freezer for, I don't know, about 2 hours maybe. So, and with this pie you could probably get 16 servings out of it. Raw food dishes are traditionally heavy and rich and you don't need as much as you think you do. So always go start small, and then if you want more, you can grab some more. Hopefully this is set up. It looks a little, maybe like I should have left it a little longer in the freezer, but I just couldn't wait. I want to eat some pie. So let's see, I'll try to take this little one here. I hope it's set all the way. This is going to be a bummer. Yeah, it looks like I should have left it a minute or two longer, but we'll just do the best we can here. It's always hard getting the first piece out. Okay, let's see. There we go. Yeah, it could have set a little longer, maybe another hour. There it is. Your pumpkin pie, raw food, vegan. Awesome, guys. You have a good night. I hope you enjoy this. Give it a try. I promise you'll like it. Happy Thanksgiving. Good stuff. Mm.